Well, welcome everyone to the Jungle Red Christmas cocktail and crime party
Hey,
and cheer. So let us all raise our glass and give each other and everyone watching a toast.
Cheers.
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 Oh, I hope somebody takes a screenshot at home of this.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? So I'll start out by saying that I have got a cranberry cinnamon mimosa mixed for me by my friend the bartender at Virtue, which is where I wish we all were, ladies, instead of doing this by zooming in.
We missed
But
her
anyway, it's absolutely delicious, and Dana's here to drive me home, so I'm going to swill it down. So,
great.
right. So, who would like to go next? Rhys, you're up because you're B.
Oh, okay. Well, I like my cocktails around Christmas to be hot. I like a hot drink. So this is a spiced punch with a little rum in it. But I found when I made it, it was a little too sweet. So I've added some red wine to the punch. Because
Wonderful.
oh, it has more punch.
Yeah, it was Captain Morgan Run. So I've called it a yo ho ho ho.
I love that. There's Julia joining us now. Hi, Julia.
There she is.
There. Oh, let me see if I can, thank you. Open that up, make it bigger so I can see
I'll go
everybody.
next because I follow Rhys with red wine.
Okay.
Basic. I am menage a trois, red wine.
Okay.
It's 3:00 in the afternoon here.
Yeah. Well, I'll go next. This is mostly mocktail because it's 4:00 in the afternoon, my time, but it is pomegranate juice, sparkling water, lime, and just a splash of gin, so it tastes like something. Cheers.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes.
Yay. Cheers indeed. Hallie, what about you?
I
I've
have
got almost the same thing as Deb.
Uh-oh.
This is, it's a pomegranate Cosmo, really. It's pomegranate juice, vodka, lime juice, orange liqueur, and nothing to leaven it. It's just lovely.
I hope you're gonna make it to the end.
Yeah, Roberta, what are you up to?
I didn't want to go too heavy because I didn't want to get very silly. This is a Campari and soda with a slice of Meyer lemon for the green.
Oh, yeah.
That's I absolutely love Campari. I drink it with tonic in the summer. I always say to people that it's my way of avoiding scurvy.
That's a good. That's a
I
good.
like it. I like it too.
Absolutely.
Hank, what are you
So-
drinking, Hank?
Well, I will tell you, but I'm looking at all the people who are here. Here's Chris Aldrich and Ann Mason and Marianne and Pauline and Nicole and Colleen and Cora Lee is here and Gigi is here and Diane and Joan Emerson. I can't even read all these names. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. It's amazing. I have, since it's only 5:00 in Boston and I still have to work on my revisions, I have sparkling water in a beautiful glass, though. I just
Hey, I want your glass, Hank. I have glass envy.
Isn't it beautiful? So
It is
happy holidays
gorgeous.
to all, and happy working to those of us who are still working.
Right. All right. And Julia, last but not least, by far.
Well, I thought I was going to be daring and stand out because I have a non-alcoholic drink, not because of excessive working, as you would be surprised to know. But some of you may know, I have a sober house going on here. My daughter Victoria is 2.5 years sober, so we are not keeping alcohol in the house. So this is one of her faves, which is a sparkling seltzer water grape. So it has a little blush of pink, and I've got the green lemon. I'm sadly not a Myers lemon, which sounds much better for some festive color. And it's hydrating, which is good for
That's absolutely beautiful. Well, as Jen said, it's only 3:00 here in Scottsdale, but I'm regarding this as an extension of brunch, which I have already had. And
That's
I
a
do
lunch
worry that
cocktail, Barbara.
on top of the French toast that I've just consumed, I may be leaving you suddenly from either a rush of sugar or maybe it'll just like kill me. Who knows? Anyway, Hank, you're going to have a little bit of a program here. So let me say thank you, welcome all of you, and let's let Hank decide what we're going to talk about.
Oh my dear, yes, everybody asked me to moderate, and I thought, oh, I'm supposed to moderate these people. There's such a word as moderation of these people. This is completely, we hardly ever see each other all together. So it's really wonderful
Very
to get together with all of you, and also with all of you on Facebook. And I'm just seeing Edith Maxwell is here, and Grace Koshida is here, and Laura Rossi, and Margaret Hamilton, and Mary Garrett, and Pam Ellenson, and Sally Fortney. I mean, this is, we don't see, let me just tell you that we can't see the comments. So I'm looking at them on my phone. Otherwise, we'd be talking to you like crazy. And do let me say that the Jungle Reds are so happy to be here at the Poison Pen with you, Barbara. This should be in person. And when this is all over, soon, we are going to come right to Scottsdale, and we will have the party of all parties. So also, because it is the holidays, the Jungle Reds have decided to give, each of us is going to buy a book from the Poison Pen and give it to one lucky commenter. So there'll be 7 gifts to give away. Just all you have to do is leave a comment and then just wait for the happy phone call. So welcome to you all. And as always, we'll start with a quiz, because what's life without a book quiz? So I'm going to read you the first line of one of our novels, and you in the comments guess what it is, and I'll see if I can keep up with that. Maybe there's too many people. Mary Sutton and Jeff Cohen and Drew Ann and Chris and Karen Maslowski and Ann Mason.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, don't you all think that the community we make on Jungle Red is just astonishing?
Yeah.
Especially during this last 9 months.
Yeah.
It's been just a lifesaver.
Yeah.
10 months. We counted our 10-month anniversary today.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. And I know we've been doing this for more than 10 years. That is really insane, with millions and millions of views. And I know that we had a discussion at the beginning of the pandemic about whether we should still do this. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we all decided that this was, of course, this was definitely the time to keep Jungle.
Right. And we all said we needed this. We
needed
our people. So that's made a big difference.
It has. And I think, and our community has grown. So let's see how well you all know the Jungle Reds books right now. Let me read you a first line. And after I read it, we'll let it sink in, and then you just wave your hand if it's yours. Okay, so it's very seasonal. How about, "I don't think that's a fake Santa," she said in a voice tight with tension and fear. "I think it's a body." Who do you think that is? Okay, I'm seeing if anybody's guessing. There are too many to look. Everybody, okay, whose line is that? Just wave.
My line.
That's Lucy Burdette. And let me just tell you quickly, Lucy Burdette, AKA Roberta Islib, has published 18 mysteries, including the latest in the Key West food series critic, The Key Lime Crime. Her books and stories have been shortlisted for the Agatha, Anthony, and McCavity Awards. So Lucy, what book is that from?
That is from The Key Lime Crime. It's not the first line. If we were supposed to have the first line,
no, just any line. Any line.
Okay. The Key
Although that would
Lime
be a
Crime.
good one.
Yeah.
And what's it about?
The Key
It's
Lime
about
Crime
Key Lime
is the
Crime.
10th. It's the 10th book in the Key West Food Critic Mystery Series, and it takes place between Christmas and New Year's, so it's a fun one to read at this time of year. And Hallie Snow's new mother-in-law, who she's scared to death of, drops in unexpectedly. They together find the body in the Santa suit, and from there the chase is on.
I hate when that happens, right? Okay, and here's another one. Road trips required a couple of things: a well-balanced diet of caffeine, salt, and sugar, and an excellent selection of tunes. Oh, and directions. Who do you think wrote that? I will look. Oh, Donis is saying, "I read The Key Lime Crime. It's great characters and wonderfully colorful."
Oh, thank
Tick,
you.
tick, tick. Who wrote The Road Trip? She's trying to look like she didn't write it. Jen, that's you, that's you. I will introduce you very quickly. Jenn McKinlay is the New York Times, USA Today, and Publishers Weekly best-selling author of several thousand mystery and romance series. She lives in sunny Arizona in a house that is overrun with kids, pets, and her husband's guitars. So tell us a little bit about where that came from.
It came from Books Can Be Deceiving, which is the first mystery in the Library Lovers mystery series. And as my amateur sleuths head out to Rhode Island, they have to pack up for a road trip. And I can't see the comments, but I love road trips. How about the Reds? Do you guys love road trips?
People are saying, gotta be Jen, sounds like Jenn McKinlay, Jen series.
Road trip.
You have a voice. And your newest book, talk about that for 2 seconds.
Oh, it was also a Library Lovers. It's called, I don't have a copy of it right here.
That's a funny title.
One for the Books.
One for the book.
Library Lovers.
Great. Okay, the next one is, if Helen Barton hadn't stepped out in front of an omnibus, I might still be sweeping floors and lighting fires at an ostentatious house in St. John's Wood. Who could that possibly be writing about an omnibus? Come
Or
on,
St.
you
John's
all.
Woods, for that matter.
So the comments are
Two
behind.
possibilities there.
Well, sure. All right, whose book is that?
Well, be mine.
Let me introduce Rhys Bowen, the internationally best-selling writer of over 40 historical mysteries and standalone novels. Her books are currently translated into 29 languages, and she has fans as far away as Afghanistan and the Sudan, unless you're in Afghanistan and the Sudan, in which case they're not far away. So Rhys, tell us what book that's from, and tell us a little bit about it.
It's Above the Bay of Angels, which is a book about a young woman who becomes a chef for Queen Victoria, and winds up in the city of Nice, where they've built a wonderful hotel for Queen Victoria, and various scandals and murders happen there once she gets there, naturally, else it wouldn't be be a rather boring book, wouldn't it? But I always write my books somewhere nice so I can go and do research. Notice that, have you?
Yes, we have noticed that. So you did go to see this hotel. Did you know it was there before you went?
Well, it was a few years ago when I was in Nice, and I was researching for another book, one of the Lady Georgie series called Naughty in Nice. We were up on a hill and I saw this beautiful building, and I said to a gardener, "Is this a hotel?" And he said, "No, madam, it's apartments now, but it used to be a hotel because it was built for your queen." And I said, "For Queen Elizabeth?" He said, "No, for Queen Victoria." And until then, I hadn't known that she'd spent her winters in the south of France. So then I started doing research and I found all these scandals going on. So I thought, oh, this is great, let's do it.
That's wonderful. What a perfect setting for a book. Okay, the next one we have is also seasonal. The fuzzy candy canes and reindeer, the fat light bulbs, everything the same as it always was, as it always had been. Poetic, beautiful, setting, seasonal. Who might that be? See, Julia's blushing now. Okay, Julia, that's you. Julia Spencer-Fleming.
Poetic. I was like,
Julia Spencer-Fleming is an upstate New Yorker who makes her home in Maine. She writes the Claire and Russ series, which has won or been nominated for every major mystery award in the US. What particular book is that from? And it has 2 more lines after it that are equally lovely.
yeah, everything the same, everything different, everything. And it's actually at the very end, not the beginning, of my first novel, In the Bleak Midwinter, which at this point is kind of the only Christmas book that I've written. It takes place right at Christmas time. And I always love that phrase because it sort of kicks off the whole rest of the series. Russ is leaving after his last visit with Claire, and he realizes that in his little town, nothing is ever going to be the same for him because she's there.
So sweet. And that was just, that book was, I mean, you just get goosebumps. You often write about cold, don't you?
Yes, I live in Maine and I'm from upstate New York. I'm looking at Lucy with his, are those bare arms, Lucy? I mean, my God, I've got
I'm a
3
little hot.
layers on here, and there's a fire going in the wood stove. So yes, it is very natural for me to write about cold because I live cold. And also, I really do enjoy writing dangerous weather. You know, I like reading books with dangerous weather, and I really like, you know, I think it adds that extra bit of frisson.
Does add frisson. Do they have frisson? Lucy, we didn't talk much about Key Lime Crime. There's weather in Key West as well.
There is, and so Killer Takeout is the one that I wrote during a hurricane. So that's weather, scary weather. Yeah.
And were you there in a hurricane?
No, I'm too much of a chicken to be here during hurricane season, except we got down here in early November, right as the only hurricane that hit the Keys came through. So that was poorly planned, but no, usually I prefer no hurricanes.
I mean, that sounds like a bumper sticker, doesn't it? That you could probably sell at the pen. Another seasonal opener is, and come on, I think this might be a little too easy, but see what you all think. Duncan Kincaid's holiday began well. Let me see, who might that be? Go ahead, Debs. Let me introduce you quickly. Though Deborah Crombie is a native Texan who has been an Anglophile since birth. She writes British crime novels featuring detectives Duncan Kincaid and Gemma James. And though she lives in Texas, her heart belongs to England. And what book is that one from?
That is from A Share in Death, which is the very first book in the series. And actually, I had the quiz wrong because I thought that the quiz was going to be to guess which of our books the line was from, not which. So that was really kind of a dead giveaway, excuse the pun. But I like that line. It sets up the plot for the whole book, and I've always been fond of it. So.
And why did you decide to set it at that time?
It's actually not a Christmas book. It's set in September. And if I had had my wits about me, I have a couple of books that are set at Christmas. But I didn't pick either one of those. So
that's the Anglophile versus the US versus the American holiday.
Right. It's a holiday. He is just taking a 2-week vacation from work. So, and if I say any more, it'll give away another quiz question because I obviously did not have my answers very well organized.
You always do perfectly. Did you know, I mean, can you imagine after when you wrote that first book, how many books would come after that and how popular your characters would be?
No, or where their journey would take them. Because in that very first book, Duncan and Gemma, they have worked together, but this is the first time we actually see them work a case together. And they are, colleagues that are just kind of getting to know each other. So I had no idea. It's been fun.
Though, when you looked back at that first book, when the cover is so different from the ones you have now, and it's clearly such a long time ago.
It was very cozy. And looks sort of period, which it was not.
Yeah, it does.
Who knows what the art director was thinking in those days.
Well, it's wonderful to see, and just such a joy that it has blossomed into this huge and wonderful thing. All right, couple more lines to go. This one is, Emily Harlow wasn't sure if her sock drawer sparked joy. So that's, there are only 2 of us left here. Oh, go ahead, Hallie. Let me introduce you really quickly. Hallie Ephron is a New York Times bestselling author who writes suspense novels that reviewers have called deliciously creepy, but she hopes never icky. She's married to the sweetest guy who can't pass a yard sale without stopping and who's inspired more than one of her novels. So Hallie, this is from Careful What You Wish For, which we see behind you. Tell a little bit about it.
Well, in the opening scene, Emily, who's a former teacher, I'm a former teacher. She's really based a lot on me, who started her own business. helping people get organized, get rid of clutter. And she's sorting her clothes and thinking about the things in her life that don't spark joy. And sadly, her husband is in that list. And so it takes off from there. And I had fun with it. I wrote it long before Marie Kondo. I've been writing about my husband's collecting and how annoying it is for ages, long before Marie Kondo invented the line, does it spark joy? But it just seemed like such a perfect fit to be able to write about an unhappy wife and what she does or doesn't do to get rid of the clutter in her life, how she defines it.
What did your husband think about you picking that as the topic?
Well, I told him that his stuff is what inspired me, not him.
Ah, very wise. Has he ever come up with a really fabulous find at a yard sale?
Oh my God, yes. I'm just looking behind me to see if there's anything in here. A million things. He's our dining room carpet, our
All those crossword puzzles.
oh my God, we're now on our 19th crossword.
Yeah.
Jigsaw.
Yeah, I
puzzle.
was going to say
puzzle.
you need to give Jerry credit, because I remember when you were desperate and he pulled out all those jigsaw puzzles that he had been hiding away for
In the
years.
basement. It was like Bartholomew Cubbins' hat, you know, every time he takes one off, a bigger one appears. That was the trunk. And so now we're on our 19th. We're doing one that was done in 1930, and there's no picture.
Wow.
But the pieces are on plywood, and they're like curlicues. I'm gonna put it on Facebook so people can see what an amazing puzzle it is.
Well, maybe you can all invite us to a Facebook Live and we'll try to tell you where to put the pieces. Would that be just sort of so boring? That would be probably the word.
It would be boring, but I do find jigsaw puzzles enormously endearing and engaging. Just the whole process of finding the edges and then sorting the colors and then just doing a little bit and then a little bit more. It's almost like writing a mystery novel.
Oh, except for us pantsers who don't know what the picture is.
Right.
It's hard to put together. There is the problem. And people are guessing you like Hallie. The sync of the comments is off from the talk. So it's hard to see the answer at the time that people are giving it. But everybody's guessing Hallie, and everybody is saying that Chris Aldrich is saying it's the only thing in my house that sparks joy. All the Bombas socks. And Judy is saying, I love to do puzzles. Diane is saying, I love jigsaw puzzles. And Anne is saying, obviously, Hallie does not have a cat, which is not good for jigsaw puzzles. And here's the final quiz line, which is just, this is not even extra credit. This is just, everybody gets this right. Because there's only me. She yanked the wheel to the right, rumbling through the narrow pothole breakdown lane, needing to get there, hoping she wouldn't see what she heard, what she'd imagined, hoping there was another explanation, her teeth clenched and her fingers grasping at the steering wheel, which shows my penchant for commas, and that possibly that sentence should have been several sentences, but that is from my new book, The First to Lie, which just got a starred review from Publishers Weekly. I'm Phillippi Ryan, the USA Today bestselling author of 12, and as of yesterday, 13 thrillers. And my book, The Murder List, just won the Anthony for Best Novel of the Year. So I'm still floating from that. So again, it's so nice to see you all here in the holidays. Let's talk about holiday stuff. Who has a good holiday tradition? Lucy, what do you do in Key West that's different from your other house in Connecticut?
It's kind of a sad thing because we can't do it this year. There are actually two things that really make it Christmas for me in Key West. And one is the town has a contest, a lights contest. And so the houses are decorated in amazing ways. And then everybody takes a trolley ride around town, and the drivers know where to take you to see the best lights. And then there are money prizes. So there are no trolleys this year. And the other thing is the little church we go to has the sweetest lessons and carols Christmas Eve service that I'm going to miss terribly.
But it will be lovely next year when it's all back, knock on wood, right?
It will be. And I'm sure they'll do something on Facebook, but that's not exactly the same. So I'm going to make up for it with cookies, many.
Is that where the dead Santa in your book is?
Yeah, well, the dead Santa is in the book. I've put it on that tour, but it really was off the beaten track.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Jen, what about you? How about you and your family's had the most up and down year ever?
Yeah, it's been a ride. So usually we usually do an annual Christmas card, but the boys have kind of outgrown that, you know, off in their own lives. And so I can't blame the pandemic on that. But we also do a big, and I shared it today on Jungle Reds. So for those of you who are already on, we decorate gingerbread houses every year, and it's fairly competitive. We don't have many girls in our family. I have 2 boys, my brother and his wife, 2 boys, my sister-in-law, a boy, and then my other sister-in-law and her husband, a boy and a girl. But there's 1 girl. And it's all the boys that get together to do the gingerbread houses. So it's the anarchist house, it's the mess house. it's you know, it's bad, but it's a lot of fun for them to make a lovely gingerbread house look like it's been firebombed. So yeah,
sometimes it happens.
I do.
I love that tradition, though. I love that tradition. Rhys, your whole family is so steeped in tradition.
Yeah, and that's the big disappointing thing. For me, Christmas is all about family. Usually our group from Arizona flies in for Christmas. So we have 14 people, most of them staying in my house. And we have a huge Christmas tree and presents all over the floor. And we play all these very silly games, which we have every year, which everybody laughs at. Every year I make mince pies, little tiny mince pies and sausage rolls. That's what I do. And so for last year, it was like 100 and something mince pies and 100 and something sausage rolls. And of course, this year it's going to be John and me together because we're in a state of lockdown in California, so we can't go and see anybody. Hopefully, I'm going to just drive by Jane's house, exchange presents, have a mince pie and come back again. But we'll have to see. If the weather's bad, we can't do that. So it's all rather,
Well put, well put.
Really going to miss is that on Christmas Eve, I've been going to this gorgeous it's a chapel associated with what was a boys' orphanage to start with. So it was built in the 1800s. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like an old Spanish style chapel, and the acoustics are fabulous. And they have all these they have lights in every little niche going all the way down, and candles. And then we have beautiful things all over and it's just a treat for the eyes just to sit there. So I'm not going to do that this year either. So I'm trying to think what I'm going to do that's going to be wonderful. And I said to John, if it's just 2 of us, I'm not doing a turkey. And I said, I think I'm going to do duck breast. But now I have to find out.
There is a, you know, it's one of those things where we have to count our blessings a little bit, that we're safe and we can stay home, and that we can make a new tradition, and that next year, sort of like out of Henry V, we'll remember that we were all here together when we did this. You know, we'll remember it and it'll be over.
Band of sisters.
Yeah, we'll be band of sisters. Exactly. Debs, what about you talking about band of sisters?
Well, my biggest thing, I guess, out of all the Christmas traditions is the Christmas tree. I mean, this goes back to when I was a little kid, and it was one of the things that my dad and I did together every year. We picked out the Christmas tree, and my mother complained every year, no, I don't want a real tree. Don't get a big one. So we always had to get a real tree, and we always had to get the biggest one that we could get on the car and put it up. My dad, my grandmother, and I did all the tree decorating. So I am a holdout for the real tree. And I kind of debated this year, because just the 2 of us, even though, you know, our kiddos are just next door, we can't spend Christmas with them because they're you know, out in the world with jobs and schools. And then I thought, well, hell yes. On Wednesday, Thursday, and the Christmas tree lot that I have shopped at ever since they opened about 15 years ago, they did not get in a second shipment of trees. There were just like a dozen scraggly little trees left. So we have kind of a Charlie Brown tree this year, but I got it
That's
decorated.
really, I mean, that's
Yeah.
emblematic of the whole thing.
Yes.
And Rick is saying, this is good. It's small. This is good.
Also, you know, we do the best we can. We just-
Yeah, and it's pretty. I'll post it on Facebook when it's completely
Be
finished.
careful of the lights though, Debs, because I think the real 2020 thing would be to have the Charlie Brown tree and then it catches on fire and
Oh,
like
no.
falls over
Oh,
and your living
no.
room catches on fire. Or something.
Yeah,
Julia,
they're
you tell
all
your-
LED, so
Yeah.
hopefully cool and safe.
Julia's imagination just goes crazy no matter what anybody says. And then it will snow in Texas, as it always snows in Julia's books. Well, that means you're up next, Julia. What about your tradition?
So I actually have, we actually have a tradition that we can carry on, you know, pandemic or no pandemic. And I should say, I am really fortunate because my oldest daughter lives with me. That's her vaguely in the background getting ready to walk the dog. And my youngest is in her own apartment and not attending school live. So she's going to be able to come down. And we just found out a little bit ago that my son Spencer, who is serving in the Navy down in Virginia, is getting 2 weeks leave. So he's going to take the test and quarantine at home, and he lives by himself. So he's not in a barracks. I mean, quarantine for 3 days, and then he's going to come up. So we're actually going to have a little bitty family Christmas, which is much, I know it's great, right? It's
Great.
much smaller than our usual humongous 40 people for Christmas dinner. But one thing that we always do on Christmas Eve, a very special and tender family moment, we all sit down together in our cozy family room with a fire flickering in our wood stove, and we watch Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Of course. Absolutely so. Absolutely so.
We can
It
do
is a
that.
Christmas movie. It's a Christmas
It is a Christmas movie. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, we watched it last year. Maybe we'll do that on Christmas Eve this year.
Did you see on oh my golly, Jimmy Fallon had Barack Obama, and he had Barack Obama be the final resource to answer these burning questions, one of which was, is cereal a soup? But one of the other burning questions was, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And Barack Obama said, no, Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. So
Yes,
you know, I'm like, yes, it is. Of course it is.
Yes, he's just wrong.
He's
About
wrong.
Hallie, what about you? I know you're all about food.
You know, I've never seen Die Hard.
I haven't either, Hallie.
Oh, thank
Oh.
goodness I'm not the only one in the world. Oh my goodness. I'll have
Jungle
to
Red movie night.
We'll
Yeah.
need to do
Okay,
a
well-
Zoom movie watch. Yes.
Yes.
have
love it.
Bruce Willis on the bus and
No, that's Speed. That's Keanu Reeves.
which
on
I
the-
also haven't seen.
not,
Oh, actually, we can watch Speed again tonight. That would be fun.
Okay.
anyway, we're digressing.
Yes,
and
well,
the-
it's all about food in my house. The holidays are all about food, and because I'm Jewish and my husband is Jewish, Christmas we celebrate it because it's too much fun not to. But it's not the big holiday. I mean, we exchange gifts and we enjoy our neighbors' lights, and I put a green on the door. But it's kind of not our holiday. But Hanukkah, which we're now on day 3, is another holiday that we kind of celebrate, kind of don't. I know this is kind of down, but that's the truth. But my potato pancakes
Ah,
are out of this world. There's my potato
great.
pancakes, sorry, are out of this world. And I bought a brisket this year. All of my groceries are coming delivered. So the only brisket I could get was a 9-pound.
Asian calling.
9 pound. You know how big a 9-pound
That's
brisket?
a lot of meat.
Huge.
Oh my God. So it came, and I cooked half of it yesterday and froze half of it. And I'm going to make potato latkes, pancakes. And the trick to good potato pancakes is to grate them by hand and put them in a dish towel and then wring out all the liquid. If you don't do that, they come out soggy.
Yeah.
And I like them lacy and crispy. And then
Mm.
for Christmas, I make candy for people. I make chocolate covered orange rinds, starting with oranges, and I make turtles with pecans and caramel and dark and light chocolate. So those are my.
But don't you make cinnamon buns too, Hallie?
If my kids are here, I make cinnamon buns. And one year we made jelly donuts, and that was the best thing I've ever made. Now jelly donuts are a Hanukkah thing, so maybe it was
Deep fry them? Deep fry?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we make the dough the night before we did, and then rise it again in the morning, and then fill it with really good raspberry jam. That's the other trick there.
Douche it in with like a syringe?
What did we do? I think I used a turkey baster in
Oh,
reverse.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Which no more will be the turkey baster. Well, my family is Jewish too, but we celebrate everything because it's too much fun not to celebrate everything. I know when I was growing up, we used to gripe that we wanted a Christmas tree. And my mom would say, honey, we're Jewish, we're not having a Christmas tree. But we used to demand one anyway. And then with, in the 8 nights of Hanukkah, we used to, you get a present every night. And by the 8th night, my mom was giving us things like gum, packs of gum. And we would say, or Pez. And we would say, you can't give us Pez. That's just not a Hanukkah thing. But on Christmas Eve, we used to have, I grew up in Zionsville, Indiana. We used to have oysters Rockefeller and champagne and rack of lamb. And my stepfather would read A Child's Christmas in Wales to us in front of the fireplace. And, I think we were all really bored with it. I think we're like, hey, can we just go open presents or something? But, thinking of it now, what a really sweet night that was. So I have stashed a rack of lamb from the before times in the freezer. And I think I will bring that out on Christmas Eve as well. It's interesting how did everybody get to, yes. Barbara, what about you?
Well, I was thinking, for many years, my mother's favorite holiday was Christmas. Rob's is Thanksgiving, my husband. And my mother was all about baking. So I used to make Christmas tree ornaments, bake the gingerbread and, all the sprinkles and the little silver balls, and we'd hang them on the tree, and it was all fabulous. But since Rob and I have been married, our wedding anniversary and my birthday is the 22nd of December. And so because the rhythm of the bookstore is such, we have traveled at Christmas, amazing trips for up until this year. We've taken like the whole family to Spain. We've been to South Africa. We've been all over. So this year, we can't go to Tasmania, New Zealand, and the Arctic where we were going. So we have a giant Christmas tree, and it's our little pot. Rob and I and Dana and the kids are around us, but so far they haven't taken tests, so we're being kind of quiet. But Rob is taking me to Canyon Ranch for my 80th birthday. So we're going to go for 2 weeks on the 26th. And that'll be really nice. I'm praying that everyone in New York is on vacation, and I don't have to answer any email for 2 weeks. That is my idea of the world's best Christmas.
Here.
So I think we have to adjust. And, I read something that I will throw out to all of you because I've really been thinking about it. It was a very good article in the Arizona Republic, which by itself is unusual. But it basically said that you have to think of your business or anything else in your life right now. You have to start thinking of it as a startup because it isn't going to be the same. And I think that's absolutely true. I'm sitting here, thinking about how we have to reboot with our local customers because they haven't been in the store for months. We do curbside pickup, but I have a senior staff and they're uncomfortable with people coming in. Plus we have a lot of, as Jen can tell you, political statements about masks and other things in Arizona. So, I mean, business actually has been better than it was. So the fact that we don't have people in the store hasn't hurt us. But at the same time, where are all those people going to be when we can go back to when we can go to the after time?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I think even as even as individuals, like
Right.
like your bookstore, we're going to come out of this a different way.
Well,
And I
but
wonder,
family
that's a-
traditions,
Yeah.
family traditions, you have to think about it. We gave up going to Durant's, the local mafia hangout where we always go for Christmas because the decorations are so unbelievably tacky and wonderful. Jen is laughing. I'm not sure, Rhys, if I've ever taken you to Durant's, but at some point we're going to need to do that
You
before
enter through
Christmas.
the kitchen. That's my favorite
Oh,
part.
you go in through the kitchen and I mean, it's like the Russian tea room in New York used to look 30 years ago. Just,
Oh, wow.
Other
unbelievably amount of
wallpaper. Yeah.
tacky stuff all over and flocked wallpaper. Anyway, we decided that it was too dangerous to go because it's dining inside. But the Salt River Fields, where the big spring training fields are, they have put up like 5,000 Christmas lights, and they've done a whole drive-through Christmas light thing. So that's a new tradition. So I bought tickets for that and for the Luminaria walk. And I think the secret is to try to make something new in place of what you have to give up. And
Well, that's a wonderful way of looking at it. And I wonder what each of you think, coming out of the pandemic, thinking about that at some point, we're each going to be able to get the vaccine, which will be amazing. And then we'll be able to step outside and have a different life than we had before. How will anybody have a thought about how you may deal with the world differently or deal with your life differently?
I'm wondering, we're so used now to shrinking from other people. We walk twice a day and everybody in Marin is very good about wearing masks, but someone comes towards you and you instinctively step to one side of them. I'm wondering if this is going to go on. The great thing about this, my son posted this today saying, guess where I'm going? And he's wearing this beanie and this thing over his face. He said, am I going grocery shopping or to rob a bank?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can walk into a bank looking like that and nobody's going to worry anymore.
Bank robbery.
But the thing I did, because I wanted the family to have something to look forward to. So I have reserved this huge house in Devonshire, in Torquay in Devon, for next July. And I'm going to bring everybody over to be together, hopefully, in Devonshire. It's a house that has 14 bedrooms. So I think we can accommodate everybody who wants to come and local family and everything. And they actually have a Michelin-starred chef that you can reserve for the night. So that's definitely going to be at least 1 or 2 nights that we're going to eat very well too.
Well, Rhys, you should have him make mince pies and sausage rolls.
Yeah, I bet he'd do good ones too.
I was thinking she should add another week on and we could all go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why not?
Rhys is doing what I just said, and she's creating a new tradition, a new thing to make. And Rhys, I've been meaning to ask, Rob has always, as he always does, has made way too many mince pies. He's got mincemeat galore. Would you like him to send you a box?
I would love, I bet Rob's are better than mine. Yes, please. Anything Rob sends, I love,
I do know, right. He might even put limoncello in it. Okay, I'll tell him, because frankly, I would like some of the mincemeat to leave our house.
And I do see on the comments that, first of all, people are ordering mince pies from you.
Okay.
So now you're in
It's a new sideline. I love it.
Yeah.
Marianne wants to go with Rhys. People are saying they miss hugging, and I do see some people giving the secret code that we gave on Jungle Red on the blog in order to have another entry in the book contest. So that's very nice to see you all. Jen, what about you? What will you do differently and be differently in the after times?
That's such a good question. I have no idea. I'm hoping to travel again desperately. My sons are both in different places in graduation, and one of our dream trips was to go to Japan. And that was supposed to happen, so that's on hold. So I guess I'm hoping to reignite travel plans that were bust. I'm hoping that next year's the year we get to go to Japan and, walk the streets we wanted to walk. But mostly I just want to hug all my people again,
Yeah.
That seems to be the sentiment on Facebook as well from the comments, and people just want to hug someone. I look at all the pictures of us on book tour, and we're all just sort of arm in arm wrapped around each other, or big rooms full of people. Do you miss that, Debs?
Oh, I just was thinking I want to sit on the sofa in my living room and snuggle with my granddaughter and read books together. I feel like I have missed, she'll be 5 in February, and I feel like I have missed a whole year.
We haven't seen ours since
Yeah.
February. Except the one good thing is that FaceTime, we've stayed very closely connected to them, but it's not the same, obviously.
No.
This
Well, I mean,
morning-
I see them and I have, you know, go to her soccer games and we wave over the, you know, where I can stay off by myself and just watch the kids, and we wave over the fence, but it's not the same. So
My husband and go ahead, Julia.
I was going to say I had a similar experience. So I was in upstate New York in late October and then later in November. My dad has moved from his house into continuing care. He's got an apartment there that he loves, and I'm great. I mean, he likes it. He's very safe there. But both times when my sister and I were up there helping move things out of his house, it was in lockdown.
Mhm.
So the only way we could see him, and I hadn't seen my dad for close to a year, you know, at that point, was we went and we'd stand in the parking lot, and he has a 4th floor apartment with a balcony. So Barb and I would get on our phones and Dad would come out on his phone and we'd like talk to each other, listening over, you know, and it was really hard when I said goodbye to him, because, you know, just not knowing when we're going to be able to get back together again.
Yeah.
There's
It's
a
tough.
lot of sort of being present, and my husband and I have lunch every day together, and it's just so sweet. Usually we'd be at work and bustling and not seeing each other at all, and leave in the morning and come back at night. But now we have this time when we talk about the world and just sort of be together, and we really are so blessed to be able to be together like that. You know, it's something that in real life, nobody takes time. You know, we have big fat birds in the backyard and we watch the birds all the time. Hallie, I know you and Jerry are big bird people as well. Do you have a lot of birds, and how are you all feeling?
Well, it's hard to put words to it. I think what's really struck me is how much closer I feel to my daughters than I did before. And I know you're not supposed to say, oh, but it's the silver lining, but it is the silver lining. It's, you know, we talk to them almost daily, where it used to be maybe once a week. And I even see my grandkids on FaceTime like all the time. And so I feel like in some ways, the whole idea of having, I mean, my heart goes out to anyone who's alone right now. Mostly, you know, I'm so grateful that I have my husband, that I have my kids, even though they're not here, they're here in spirit. It's a pretty heavy time, honest to God, it is heavy.
Well, I do think it's because it makes you realize how precious everything that we have is. And, you know, the people who are, at least we had Zoom, all of these people, and look at all the comments of our friends and the bookstore's friends. And we are so grateful to see every single one of these names. And you know, we used to rush around all the time and really not focus enough. And I think you know, maybe that's, as Hallie says, you're not supposed to see the silver lining, but maybe you are supposed to.
I don't miss the rushing.
No, I agree. Talk about that.
I don't think we would have a puppy if it wasn't for this.
You couldn't have talked your husband into it.
No.
Well, we do have 2, and I have to say that they provide a great deal of amusement in busyness.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I can't imagine having spent this last 10 months without the 2 dogs and the cats, who are just endlessly entertaining. You know, we watch them, we interact with them, we talk about them all the time. Oh, you know, did you see what Lucy the cat just did?
You know, I think we're very blessed that if we have a spouse that we get along with during this. I think there's going to be some divorcing afterwards. And if you've just tolerated each other before, to be locked down together like that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? At least
I found that we're less less irritable with one another. I don't mean that we were constantly sniping or anything like that, but I think we both made an effort to just really not be bugged by the little everyday things that would bother you. Do you get that?
It's interesting because we really didn't discuss it, but we are, I mean, we obviously love each other and we like each other and we think each other is great, but there's a lot of sort of tenderness of saying, thank you, and you look nice, and so nice to be here. And, Jonathan puts the dishes in the dishwasher, and I say, it's the nicest thing, and even puts them away. Do you all have that? I mean, Rhys, you all are, you've been probably together the longest, right?
Yeah, 53 years now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, in our case, I put the dishes in the dishwasher, and John says, "Don't put them in like that. Let me wrap them for you."
So everything is normal. And
You don't want a personality transplant, no.
But, he does say, we're so lucky that we've got each other. He's said that many times, and I think that's true right now, that you do appreciate what it would be like to be completely alone at this moment.
And Julia, your son's coming home. You must be so proud of him.
I am. And I was thinking, I'm fortunate because my oldest, Victoria, moved back in before the pandemic for what was supposed to be a brief period between apartment and house hunting. And, a year later is still here. But it's been nice because even when it was just the two of us before the universities closed down and all of a sudden it was four of us again, and we really enjoy each other's company. She's really funny, and we've got our rhythms that we set up. Every Friday night is movie night. When the kids were home from college, every Wednesday was game night. And I think we might revive that. I've been seeing some really fun online games that you can do. I played one with my sister. I would Jack somebody in the comments may know what this is. Anyway, and it was so much fun. It was like actually being there with other people. So I was going to say, talking about like, what do you take out of this, is one of the things that I've gotten out of this is the different ways of being together that we can try out and work. Like, Hallie was saying, like FaceTiming with the kids every single day or just about every day. I have all these friends that, because I live out in the country, have come out and we will do, well, it's getting a little chilly for that, but even on, nice days, we'll do these socially distanced walks where you can walk on either side of our country lane. And that's our visiting, where before we would have gone for a brunch or for lunch or drinks or something. Now we take a walk. So we have friend time. And we also get to feel like incredibly righteous and healthy. It's like, oh yeah, look at us.
But we're running out of time. And I want to tell you that Ann Southard is saying, keep holding these author meetings. You may be my new tradition. So that's a nice thing.
That's so nice.
Before we go, we want Barbara and Poison Pen to sell a lot of books. So we decided that we would each hold up a book that we, not besides ours, of course, that we want to recommend for people to buy from Barbara at the Poison Pen. So Jen, you're first. Okay, go ahead.
Mine is the Sundown Motel by Simone St. James.
Creepy, scary.
Yeah, well, it's got ghosts and a mystery, and the writing is fantastic, and it's multiple timelines, which I love, and I couldn't put it down. I thought it was awesome. One of my favorite books this year.
Great, Debs.
Can anybody see that? I am going off the mystery. Oh shoot.
Notting Hill.
Just tell us.
Yeah, it's called Notting Hill in the Snow by Jules Wake, because I have been mainlining British rom-coms, and this particular one is set in Notting Hill at Christmas. So if you're missing Duncan and Gemma and Notting Hill and all the scenery, this is great fun. So
Lucy?
I have found that I need to get a book that I already know the characters, because life is too hard
Yeah.
to try to plunge into something new all the time. So this is Anne Cleeve's latest. The bad news is now I have to wait until, I don't know when, Barbara, next fall.
Yes.
Although because I've read all of, now this is her Vera book, and I've read all of the Shetland books, which I loved so dearly, but I haven't read the earlier ones, so maybe.
Well, but she has a new one, Roberta. She has a new one set in Devon, I think it is. Isn't
I
it?
Yeah,
love the
I
long
read the
haul.
first one of that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're just gonna have to wait a little while.
refuses to write more than one a year. But anyway, this is a Vera book, and it's wonderful. So I
It
recommend
is wonderful. I agree.
Rhys?
Well, I like Lucy. I have to have someone that I know really well, and of course, she's a dear friend, and she doesn't really need any extra plugging. But this is such a lovely book, and if you like Paris, I mean, if you take Gamache, who you adore, and then you put him in Paris, what could you do that's better?
What about you, Julia?
I hope this is going to show up here. Oh, good, it did. So I'm recommending Inherit the Shoes by E.J. Copperman, who is, I think, actually in this in the comments there. EJ is also Jeff Cohen. And this is his brand new book. It's the start of a new series, and set, as you can kind of guess, on the West Coast for a change. I love Jeff's writing because he does cozies, very similar to Jen's. He does cozies with snark. So they're like, they're not too sweet. They're just a little spicy enough. So that's my recommendation. Inherit the Shoes by E.J. Copperman.
That's great. And he is here. I do see.
here's a cameo.
Oh, so big
Yeah,
now.
lovely.
Look how big she is.
I know, she's gotten huge. All right, that's enough.
Okay, Hallie, what about you? We're running out of time.
Yeah, I recommend this book. I
yes.
just started it by Jess Walters, The Cold Millions. I read when I first started reviewing crime fiction for the Boston Globe, now about 20 years ago. One of the first books I read was his first mystery novel, which was called Citizen Vince, which completely blew me away. I can practically recite the opening line. It had such voice. I was completely slayed by it. I'm still stunned by how good his writing was. He went on to not continue. He won the Edgar for Best Novel, and then went on
I
to.
was on the committee that year, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my goodness, how
And
interesting.
now Beautiful Ruins, of course, was a huge seller of his, but it's not a mystery. And now I think he's back, and I've just started it, and it's set in the early part of the 20th century, and it's it's such a pleasure to read a writer who knows his way around the written word, and he does.
I loved Citizen Vince, and I actually I reviewed it for a magazine, and then I saw him, and I said in the review that I was worried that I didn't have the words to say how good this book is. And then I saw him give a speech at a bookstore a couple of weeks ago, and that he mentioned my review. So that was like, he's the most charming, smartest, best writer ever. So yes, I agree, Hallie, totally so. And I brought Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam, which is sort of a creepy thriller about a family who rents a house on Long Island and thinks it's going to be a fun vacation. And then the real owners of the house come back and say, there's been a total blackout in New York, and we have to stay here with you. There's no phone, there's no electricity, there's no television. But so this is our house, and we need to stay here with you. And you can imagine how really Christmassy that is.
I love it. Well, ladies, this is the time when I think there's been a renewed interest in the classics. I'm really delighted that the British Library Crime Series, the Library of Congress Crime Series, the American Mystery Classics, and so forth, have done as well as they have. And next Thursday, the 17th, Val McDermott and Sujata Massey and Dana and I are going to do a symposium on Josephine Tey, because we have all been rereading Josephine Tey. Dana's going to do The Daughter of Time, and Sujata is going to do The Franchise Affair, and we're going to share it with Brad Farrar. Val and I are going to talk about The Singing Sands, and we'll kind of cover the whole thing. But I think this is a wonderful time to rediscover writers that we have loved. And I also would give a shout out. We did an event this morning with Tessa Arlen, who Poppy Redfern and the Midnight Marauders is a really fun book to read right at this moment. It is part of this whole World War II subgenre now that we're getting, which is maybe mystery, maybe spy, maybe romance, maybe whatever, you know, it's a blend. But there's this avalanche of World War II novels coming out. But this one is about the women pilots who ferried planes for the men to fly in the Royal Air Force because they couldn't belong to it. And it's a very complicated story, but I enjoyed it tremendously. I have to say that strangely enough, 2020 has actually been the best year the Poison Pen has ever had.
Wow.
It is.
Wow.
We might be up as much as 10%. And I think
You know,
that
this
that's
is because all the people who love you and love the store are rallying to you.
No, I don't. You know what, Hank? I mean, thank you. That's a very kind thought. But I really think what it is that people have had time to read. You've all talked about life slowing down. And, you know, we've noticed a couple of things. Well, three things. People are buying entire runs of books by one author because they want to read as much as they can. They are reading really big books that they might not have thought they had time to read. You know, it's like the War and Peace thing and all. And they are ordering books that we never have previously sold, that aren't even part of our inventory. Every day we have to figure out where we can get them. And a lot of nonfiction. And I think that for reading, the pandemic has really been a chance for people to remember how wonderful it is to get lost in a book. You know, you're not distracted by so many competing forms of entertainment. You're home. And, you know, what could be more wonderful than just curling up, whether it's warm or cold, wherever you are, and reading a book. So I don't take any credit. We don't take any credit for it. We think it just reflects that people have returned to books in wonderful ways. But we've also been doing a virtual life here, as you all know. Well, our first video event was 1995. Rob found it the other day with P.D. James. That was our very first event like this, and we found the tapes. So Rob is in the process of restoring them and turning them into podcasts. Many authors, sadly, not with us anymore. I have a beautiful cassette recording with Ellis Peters, for example. You know, I've got Robert Parker, I've got Clive, I've got all these people that, you know, we have recorded over the years. So I think that people were so used to us working that way that they have not had to adjust. They've just been able to, you know, Jen can tell you because she's here. We actually opened for appointments for a couple of months before we decided that was right now too dangerous. But the interesting thing is that when we did, nobody came. They just kept right on, you know, calling up, ordering books. But I mean, it didn't really matter that we weren't open for browsing because we talked to them. We talked to everybody all the time. And as a result, you know, it hasn't been a disruption of business. And I really, my heart bleeds for bookstores that have really struggled. But when I said we have to think about it as a startup, I think you're going to find the book selling landscape very different. You're going to find your own readers are going to want to connect with you in different ways. They're also used to your being more available. They're used to you being non-geographically contained. They're used to time being fluid because, you know, there are going to be, I can tell you right now, there will be many more people who will watch this event in the next few days than are watching it now. It's just amazing to watch those numbers go up. And, you know, so there's an inclusiveness that we have achieved in this technology that we didn't have before. So I think one of the real questions for all of us is how are we going to keep the best of this and then go back to the things that were more familiar, you know, the personal context, the people in the store, the excitement. And we're going to have to find new ways to combine all that, I think, to go forward because people's expectations now have been altered. So it's going to be a challenge for all of us. You know, Hank, you'll be great. You'll lead the charge because you're so good at this. You know, we'll just trail along behind her, right,
Hank.
ladies? Letting her organize us. But
You know, this is really pretty amazing, all of the comments that are coming in. First of all, your Tay session is now full from all of the people who are saying, yes, 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 we want to hear about Josephine Tay. And people are saying, yes, more people are reading. What a treasure that would be, P.D. James. These are so much fun. And,
right.
you know,
But see, the great thing is that it won't be full for Josephine Tay because an infinite number of people can watch it. It isn't like, you know, we have to work out, we can get 200 people physically inside the bookstore. It doesn't count anymore. And also it means that people in all different time zones all around the world can do this. We did a wonderful event with Brad Thor, a book discussion club. And what we learned is when people were asking questions, they would say, I'm here in Bucharest, or I'm calling in from Wellington, or whatever, you know. And I mean, Brad said to me, Lord, this is really an international event, isn't it? And this technology, that I think the thing we should be grateful for as authors and booksellers and publishers is Zoom. Because really, how would we ever have navigated this as well as we have without this particular technology? I mean, I know there's Crowdcast and all, but I can only learn one thing at a time and poorly at that. So Zoom is what I know, but there are other ways to do it. Anyway, ladies, a toast to you all. Thank you very, very much. This is our second joint event of 2020. So maybe we can get together on Valentine's Day or something similar. But let me wish you all a really happy holiday and thank you very much for spending this time with us. So
Thank you.
Love you all.
Happy holidays.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Cheers.
Hello. We hope you're enjoying our programs and podcasts with authors. We'd like to expand them, and your help would be appreciated. Please make a donation at poisonedpenfoundation.org. 100% of the proceeds will go to help connect authors with readers in this difficult time. Thank you.